Imagine that someone tells you about a seminar that they deem to be very useful for your future. They tell you that this seminar is so important that you have to go there 5 days a week and do your best to take as much from it as possible. You have to participate in everything the lecturer tells you to participate in and be as attentive as you can. Now imagine that you go to the seminar, you listen to the lecturer, and find out that it is not that useful. It might have some bits and pieces of information that you might use in the future, but such information is scarce and is presented in a very boring and unengaging manner. And that is not all. While you attend this seminar, your rights, wishes, and preferences are suspended. You don't have the right to go to the toilet unless the lecturer allows you to do so. You don't have the right to eat when you're hungry unless it is the lunch break. On the shorter breaks, you are forced to go outside no matter if it's raining, freezing, if you feel bad that day, or simply you want to sit inside for a while and relax. You have no right to read a book, even if it's about the stuff that the lecturer is talking about, unless the lecturer specifically told you to do so. In that case, you have no right not to read it. If you got interested in something but the lecturer already moved on, too bad for you. You have no right to be interested in that anymore until the next time when the lecturer will tell you to be interested in that again. If someone hurts you physically or otherwise, you will only be offered some sense of justice if the lecturer is interested in your case. And even then there are no guarantees that anything good will come out of it. If you try to bring some justice into the situation without the permission of the lecturer, it is most likely that the situation will backfire and you will be punished for that. In other words, you notice that you were sent to a series of fascist seminars where you are forced to do whatever the lecturer tells you to do whenever the lecturer wants you to do it, and you have no right to do something else, ignore some of the requests, or accomplish the given tasks in a different order. Would you go back to such seminars day after day? And if you did, would you feel obliged to follow the rules? And even if you followed them, would you feel proud of yourself for doing that? Or would you feel that you follow the rules only because of the fear of what might happen to you if you won't? Now imagine that you go home from such seminar hoping that you will get to relax and do something that you enjoy doing. Something that might not be very productive or useful for the future, but something you like. And then your boss comes to your home and tells you that he does not like the thing that you're doing and therefore you have to stop doing it. Or he does not like the way your house looks like and you have to make it look the way he wants it to look. Or he needs you to do something else that he finds important, and therefore you have to stop doing anything you're doing immediately and start doing anything your boss tells you to do. And then he tells you that you should be grateful for all that. How long would it take for you to rebel against the authorities? Or at least silently hate them and start planning how you will one day escape from all this shit? And more importantly, would you expect any sensible human being who is not suffering from any mental illnesses and was not damaged by even bleaker conditions to follow all these nonsensical rules and be happy about it? So, why do we expect the same thing from children? Why, when we want something from grown-ups, we offer something in return, or at least try to reason with them and convince them that it is beneficial not only for us but for them as well? But when we want something from children, we simply tell them to do that and expect that they will, without any rewards or convincing reasons. Remember, they did not choose to be born. They did not sign any contract where they agreed to follow all the nonsensical rules for the ability to be in this world. So they cannot and should not be thankful for any benefits they were born with. And therefore these benefits cannot be considered as a reward for anything that we want them to do. The same way as your boss should not expect you to work for free just because you already have more money than homeless people do. Your benefits that you already have cannot be considered as a reward for the work that you do. That is called extortion and is illegal for a reason. So why do we do that to the children and consider it to be normal? Well, there are two possible answers. Either we don't treat children as human beings because we don't consider them to be human beings at all, or we consider them to be human beings who suffer from this severe mental illness called being a child. And that is why we don't bother explaining them why they should do the things that we force them to do without getting any reward. Because they are too stupid anyway. But if they really are these mental patients, shouldn't we try to cure them instead of laughing at their delusions and exploiting their stupidity for our amusement? We tell them all these nonsensical stories about fat man breaking into all the houses in the world in one day about biologically impossible animals, about historically inaccurate and physically impossible events that happened long time ago far, far away, and any other stuff that comes to our minds, and then we laugh at them for believing this shit, or some similar shit that they have heard somewhere else. And when we get bored of laughing, we get angry at them for not taking this world seriously and living in some fantasy world. So even if we really believe that children are mentally ill, that does not justify our behavior. Only when we accept the fact that we don't see children as human beings but we see them as living toys, only then our actions start making some sense. If the toy is mine, I can do whatever I want with it. There is no reason to imagine how would I feel in its place or what would I do if I were it. If the toy is not mine, then I don't give a shit about it as long as it does not bother me. And if it does bother me, then I go to the owners and tell them to take care of their stuff. And the same way as we have animal control that puts animals into shelters so that they would not roam the streets, we have so-called educational system so that children would not roam the streets and would stay at schools. But that's the next video. In the meantime, leave a comment below and tell me that I'm wrong and you love your personal living toy as if it was a real person, and that is why you tell him what to do and how to think.